Good evening, folks. Good evening, one and all. Thank you all for dropping in. Let's see, we have the usual suspects here. Good evening to Dave Kraus. Good evening, Andrew. How are you? How's everybody doing out there in YouTube land? Tonight, let's see. Does anybody have any suggestions before I start browsing the interwebs for some ideas? Evening, Alex. How's it going? Ooh, good to see you on a nice little personal. You changed your avatar there. All right, so I'm just going to go look see and see what we can find out here. Anybody have any? Come on, go ahead. Throw out any suggestions. Nothing's too crazy. I may not do it, but it's not too crazy. Meantime, I'm just gonna drop on Pinterest here and see what the latest things are. Plastic surgery. Oh, that's something interesting to do. All right, so I am going to. I see something that I think is a rather nice. Nah, I don't like it. I'm trying to come up with something, folks, to something a little different for you guys. But hey, by all means, if you guys have any suggestions out there, in the meantime, I'll give you a brief for those of you that just do well. Let's just say the simple stuff, simple signs and stuff. Let's go ahead and give you a run through for those beginners out there. So let's do that, shall we? Okay, so let me share the screen here, and so here we go. Let's open up our usual Vectric, which I was working on my little diorama from the other night if you guys watched that show. I hope to have it. I hope to have something this week. I'm going to be goofing around with it this week because I'm probably leaving you guys Thursday or Friday. I'll be off again to the other world, so to the world of Central Florida. So 5 more days. 5 more days. I'm so anxious to get back up there and stuff. So anyway, I'll leave you guys with. I may or may not have a show next week because I'll be spending time with my family up there. So I don't know if I'll have if I probably will not have a show next week. So the next show will be in 2 weeks. Let's get rid of this here. Let's save this and start a new file here. Let's see. How about I don't know a campaign sign? That sounds good. All right. Let's get a good campaign sign going here. Usually most campaign signs are about 12 by 8. I mean 22 foot by 18. So there it is. And then let's see. Of course, nothing like putting them. Yeah, we'll do an American flag in a little bit, but let's do some. First of all, let's do a border. All right, so we'll do a border. We shall do something like this. Let's see here. Hang on a second. Close that, and let's first start with a square. And it's going to have radius external corners, 1 inch radius. That's pretty big radius. Maybe I'll do 1/2 inch. We'll see. The width is it's going to start at 1.1, and the width is going to be, take away 2 inches. So that'll be, width is going to be 22 by 16. Sometimes you got to do quick calculations in your head, folks, whatever you like. And then we'll also create one. Let's go ahead and create one. Let's just do the offset. Close this. Let's do an offset 1/4 inch inwards and offset. It helps if we actually select the vector. All right. So we made a little border here, and what kind of border? Well, let's show you what the border is. We're going to do a V carve, and we'll basically do a standard V carve. Not even going to mess with anything. Calculate, and here's our V carve. Let us reset and preview all toolpaths. Boom. So here we go. There we go. We have a nice little groove on the, and if you want to see what the groove looks like, it's just a simple, stop with that. I hate that, that tab. Hello. There we go. That's not it. That's not it. That's the one. All right, so simple V-carve. And as you see, that's the edge of the V-carve. All right, so enough of that. Let's go back to our regular view. Hey, Ed, how's it going? All right, let's do a, okay, so I don't know, something that pops out of your head. We'll try first vote for, and we'll have it nice and semi-big, but not that big. And we'll put it with different letters. Let's see. Let's try something blocky. I want something blocky and relatively thin. So see if I can find something in here. By the way, I just here we go. I mean, thick but thin. How shall I put this? Thick letters but condensed. So the letters would be will come out pretty tall like this, because if I do something wide, whether it's thin or thick, then the height of them is going to be very short, and I need some height. In fact, I may even just extend it here. Nah, not that much. That's just horrible. Anyway, we'll leave that there, and what we'll do is we'll put that in the middle here of the screen. I mean, of the thing, and then we're going to create some. We're going to create all. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create 3 stripes on either side. Let me show you how to do this real fast. Let's see. Oh, by the way, Russ is out with his family this week, and I'll be with my family next week. So, and Andrew just asked me something. Well, give me a second. I'll get to you, Andrew. I'm actually using. It's an interesting technique. I'm using the phone, believe it or not, as a camera. Found a program that'll do that. I get much higher resolution, and I get the focus. And the best part is, see, since I'm using a green screen, there's control over the color. So, long story, but all right. So I want square corners on this, and I'm going to create 3 of them. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just do one row, 3 columns. And there's going to be a gap in between them. Let's see. These things right now are 1 1/4 inches high. I'll make a gap of about 1/2 inch. I'm doing a proportional set of 3 stripes. So let me show you what I'm doing here. A lot of times I don't explain myself because the explanation is long-winded and you're not going to understand it. I'd rather show you than explain it. So, so I'm going to create 3 of them, and I'm going to, the gap is going to be on the X, it's going to be nothing, because if not, it'll go diagonal. And on the Y, it's going to be 1/2 inch. So boom. Nope. See, I went the wrong way. There you go. The gap, it's actually going to be, yeah, there's a gap of Wait a second. That was supposed to go that way. Oh, I did 3 columns. Sorry, folks. I meant 3 rows. Copy. There you go. See? Now, we have that. All right. Well, now let's take this and take the whole thing. We'll put it over here. Now, clearly it doesn't fit, but we lined it up with the vote. So now I'll shrink it this way a little bit. And we got a good there. It's about. Let's hang on a second. Let me just put it about even on both sides. And of course, we move this up to the bottom of the V. So there's our 3 stripes. We copy, we paste, we slide it over to the other side. And isn't that nice? We have our 3 stripes. Vote for, and now we copy this, we paste this, we bring it down, and we change the text to Alex. So there we go. And then, of course, we just put some nice regular text of some sort or another. We'll usually make this plain. Oops, undo that. Redo move. Redo create text. Why did it let's go back to the, never mind. Let's just erase this and create a new one. I don't know why it did that. I'm going vertical for some reason, and I did not want to do vertical, so I must have clicked vertical text by accident. No, still doing it. Give me a sec. There we go. It was that type of text. Oops. All right. I just picked something like Arial, which get me out of this mess here. There we go. And now we're voting here for Alex for, of course, State Assembly number 90210. Yeah, that sounds good. So if we take our V-carve and we apply it to the entire thing, not just the outside, we're going to get a wonderful little carved sign. Yes, I hear you. The material thickness will carve through. It's warning me that it's going to go all the way through these letters. So look what happens if I don't put a flat depth, folks. It is going to go cut and cut and cut all the way down right through the sign to the very, very bottom. And obviously, I don't want that. I want a flat depth. So I want to stop this at a depth of, let's go back to this, a flat depth of, 0.2 is fine, 0.15, whatever. And then I'm going to use a clearance tool also of, notice this is empty because this is a whole new install here of, there, just select that one. And we're also going to use a clearance tool of 1/8. That's the beautiful thing about the new V-carve 10, folks. If you have V-carve 10, the one thing that I've always loved about that I thought was missing from the prior versions is, and I'll explain it as it's carving here. Reset preview. Preview all tool paths. All right. You'll notice it's carving. Let me wait for it to finish here. This is a nice V-carve sign. All right. Obviously, if the, like in this case, in the case of the small letters, shoot, I always do that. In the case of the small letters, it's going to V-carve all the way through. I mean, it's going to, sorry, folks, it's a tough, there we go. Now, it's going to go V-carve all the way through. Well, there's a little bit of flat depth here to these, but most of the time it will just V-carve. Now, in the case of these big ones, rather these big letters, if you'll notice, and you can barely see it because it's very pixelated. Let me see if I can change the preferences for the drawing, for the views. Let me see here. I already forgot where they were, but well, anyway, let's see. Redrawing options. Window layout, 3D view settings. You know, times like this, I wish that that my buddy Mark was here. Because anyway, if anybody out there remembers, actually, let me just go ahead and see if by any chance this thing has the help. But I'm looking for the resolution settings. Hang on a second. Is there a search to this thing? There never is. Well, I'm not going to worry about it now. See, I'm always weak in the stuff that I don't use on a regular basis. And so anyway, getting back to this. If I were to, and I'll do it right now for you guys, if I were to not include the, in fact, let me get rid of this one and let me change this to, the clearance tool will be well, I don't have the 1/2 inch, so I'll just use that 1/4 inch. So if I use only the 1/4 inch, here's what happens, and I'll show you now. Reset preview, preview all toolpaths. All right, it's going to start carving. Obviously, it will start carving the clearance tool first. Remember, there is, and it just did that. You notice that's the clearance tool. Now it's going to start doing the V-carve. And there's the V-carve. But if you'll notice, over here in the corners, obviously you can't do a corner unless it's a V-carve. You cannot do a corner with a round bit. It's a little tough. So you'll always get this little messed up piece here. This little corner has been cut out with the tip of the V-carve. So it's very, very ragged. Here's what happens if you only use the V-carve tool. Hang on a second. Let me see if let's here's another option for you. You're gonna love this. Let's see if it shows it properly. Okay, so here we go. Recalculate. For those of you that haven't done this before, notice how fine those lines are. Even so, you're carving with the tip of a V-shaped bit. And that means that you're going to get a bunch of lines everywhere. Let's see if it shows them. Yeah, there's the lines. Okay, so obviously it's cutting, and it's overlapping, and it depends on the overlap you set. If you set an infinitesimally small overlap, the job will take weeks, but you'll have a beautifully smooth job. Well, not that smooth, because you're still cutting with a tip as opposed to cutting with a round bit. So anyway, what I was getting at is the beautiful thing about this version is about the new 10 is when you use a clearance tool, you can select not just one, but two clearance tools. You select a 1/4 inch. Now it's going to leave a little curve there. But guess what? Now you select an 1/8 inch also. And you're thinking and you're going, hey Hav, why don't you just select the 1/8 inch and be done with it? Well, how long does it take to carve this huge area with only an 1/8 inch? Remember, the smaller the bit, the longer it's going to take. My ideal scenario, if remember, you got to take into account times for swapping bits. My ideal scenario, if the thing is like 1 inch thick, use a 1/2 inch bit. That thing will cut it in practically in 2 passes. Then go over it with a 1/4 inch and then an 1/8 inch. You know, each time you're halving it. Sometimes skip a bit. Skip a bit. Anyway, that's so notice you have this first curve here. Let me see if I can zoom in on this part. I didn't want to zoom that much, folks. Hey, Bruce, how's it going? Good to see you. That's not the one. Okay, here we go. We have the see if I can just zoom out slightly. There we go. So we have right here is the path. This one here is the path of the V-bit that will cut this corner. Then you got the path of the, no, I'm sorry. This is the path of the V-bit, this sharp one here. This curved one on the outside is the path of the 1/8 inch. The first one to cut, the first one to curve is the 1/4. And the 1/4 will pretty much be the outer edge. And then you got a little, no, I'm sorry, here we go, here we go. This one right here, you can't tell, but this small triangle, that's the 1/8 inch bit over getting rid of the as much as it can of the little corner that was left. So I won't go into it any further, but bottom line is that, as they say, is that. So we have our wonderful little V-carve sign. Now, what does everybody want to see out there? Again, I'm taking suggestions, no matter how crazy. Just say what you want to do, and I'll create it. Let's see. I'm gonna say vote for Alex. Change the bottom, but goof around with that picture sometime in the future. Can you use a small a small ultra small Forstner bit? Well, I can use, yeah, yes, I could. Except, I mean, folks, for those of you that don't know, Al's my cousin and interested in the subject, but obviously he's not a CNCer. He is an all-around experienced everything, and always asks quite the interesting question. And as far as Forstner bits are concerned, for those of you that are interested, if you want to use a Forstner bit or any other type of regular standard bit as opposed to a router bit, you easily can, remember, and that's a great, that opens up a whole bunch of ideas as far as different things to do, because there's a lot of stuff you can do with a regular bit there's a lot of stuff you can do with a CNC router bit in which you don't need a Forstner bit. but there may be some situations where you actually want uh, a Forstner bit or any other type of bit. And one of the things in the Vectric is the PEC tool. Sorry, I'm laughing like Beavis and Butthead here. He said PEC. The PEC tool is right here. You can actually use PEC drilling. And what you got to do is set up your tool path in such a way. Let me go back to my... Set up your tool path in such a way that this is meant for drilling with drill bits on a CNC router. You can do that. There are occasions, let's say for instance, you wanted, and while you can do it with a small end mill, which is basically a Forstner bit without the middle section on it, but there's reasons you may want to use a Forstner bit. For instance, what if you're creating a hole that you actually want the center dimple in? It's going to be very, very difficult to create it with a regular drill bit, because you're going to have a regular drill bit, and then you're going to have to get some sort of a minuscule, tiny other drill bit too. So this is one such scenario. Well, obviously, you take the regular drill bit, you put it in there. Now, if you have a router, then this is a no-go. Do not, under any circumstance, use most bits in a router for a couple reasons. Number one is you'll burn out the bit in seconds, because most routers, again, there are exceptions, but most routers can't handle speeds less than, say, 8,000 RPM. And you need something in the range of 100 or 200 RPM. So there's a big difference. You're going to burn out the bit, with the heat real fast. Secondly, the length of those bits require that if you put something longer than, say, 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and it's not some heavy duty steel, it's long and thin. Well, you can ask my buddy Eloy what happened when he put a 3-inch, and they sell 3 and 6-inch bits. But you better darn well know what you're doing, and you put them on a slow speed, because 8,000 the second it gets the slightest little wobble, you just bent that bit, and good luck if it doesn't fly in your face as it snaps off. So doing something like that, the best thing to do is to have an end mill, to have mine went blank. Not a router, but a spindle. So you got to have the spindles can go down to, and the second, and the other reason is also the torque involved, because if you did manage to get, unlike a drill, a router at a very slow speed, when you use a variable speed adjustment for it, along with dropping the speed, it drops the voltage, and basically you have no torque whatsoever. Whereas in a spindle, you have just as much torque as you do with you may not have the momentum of the speed, but you have the torque, because that's what they're meant for. And so that's that one. What else would you guys like to see? Let's pop in on Pinterest and see if we can find something nice. Now, let's say you guys are interested in creating something like, let me see something. I'm going to see if I search for just something random here. Okay. Let's look for something religious for some folks. Free Jesus clip art. I'm just gonna pull up. I'm not sharing yet, because I want to make sure. I just okay. So I'm picking up, you guys can do this on your own. I'm picking up a free clip art. Obviously, make sure that it's free if you're going to be selling this. Do not assume something's free just because it says free. Oh, goodness gracious. Here we go. And all right. So I'm taking the clip art that I downloaded, and this will give you guys an example. Let me start sharing again here. This will give you guys an example of, oh, by the way, the clip art that I chose is this one here. So it's simple, it's straightforward. This will give you an example of something you can do, well, with your CNC. All right, so let's go back to here. Let's create a new file. And let us do a simple, say okay. Same size is good. We're going to do, actually, let me change that. Let me make it a 1/4 inch. Oh, goodness gracious. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay. Let's make it, rather than 75, 0.75, I'm going to make it 0.25. So we're working with a piece of 1/4 inch. In fact, let's go ahead and work with a piece of 8 inch, like if we were working with 8 inch hardboard or something. 8 inches is even better. So 125, that's how thin it is. And we're going to import bitmap because it's a JPEG file. We import bitmap, we look on our desktop, and our desktop shows, I think it's this one. Yes, there it is. It's unnamed. Now, it's a very low quality, but again, we can fix anything that we need to. We take this and we enlarge it as best we can. And now we do the simple, okay, say okay. This thing is just, we're going to choose it, and we're going to say trace bitmap, which is right up here. Trace bitmap, and now it's going to ask me whether it's color black and white. I'm going to say black and white. I'm going to choose the default options, and then go down, say preview, and click apply. Now, if you want, go to the layers and eliminate the other picture, the bitmap. Why didn't it not eliminate it? Hello. Here we go. So now all you can see is, well, it's a little difficult, but all you can see is the outlines. Gas station bathroom keychains. I'll do that next, but I won't put Jesus on one of those. All right, so we have a simple picture of Jesus. I'm not I'm not going to bother. You guys know a million times I've has seen how to put text on something, so I'm just going to do a simple V-carve. Again, I'm just choosing everything and see what happens. Again, most of this is trial and error in the beginning. I already know what's going to happen, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So if you do a simple V-carve, and let's say, again, I do the flat clearance, I'm going to go down to the flat depth of 0.15. Actually, no, I'm not going to use a flat depth because I'm going to go all the way down. The start depth is just going to cut all the way down through the in fact, I will use the clearance tools though. Okay, so here we go. Now, it is going to cut through parts of this, and it will give me a warning. It may give me a warning. It may not. Let it go through its little calculations. All right, taking longer than usual today. There we go. See, it said material thickness is that. Maximum tool depth is what? Okay, so okay. Now, Now that I did that, there's the tool path for the V-carve bit. Here's what it looks like. I'll preview all tool paths. Now, as you see, it went through a lot of it. That's no big deal because, as many of you woodworkers know, if you've ever worked with scroll saws before, you can actually have a black background behind it. And again, if you paint this first, completely black, I mean, you carve it, put a black background behind it, paint the whole thing black, and then sand off the top, here's what you're going to get. Let me actually, let me see. Okay, this is the black part. And now imagine, if you will, that the back is black. Can't imagine it? Well, let me show you what it would look like. It would look like this. Stand by. Boy, it's doing a lot of calculations today. There we go. Yes, click OK. What the heck? Oh, I went the wrong way. No wonder. That's why. I meant to go, well, just 0.1. All right, now we got it. Gas station bathroom keys. That's interesting. Alrighty. So reset preview all toolpaths. And this is what you would get on the it's carving, it's still carving, but there we go. There's our Jesus. Now, obviously, some of here's the problem I face when I do one of these shows is some people in the audience can easily envision some type of a sign around it, can easily envision words, can easily, but oftentimes, as I've found out, never assume that everybody is that everybody sees what you see, because sometimes people can't see what I see. In fact, almost always. So let's do something like Jesus loves me. We'll make sure it's centered. Let's put this one and make sure it's centered and close. And actually, let's not be let's try Jesus loves you, because we would assume that this is hanging in your place and you want to tell others. Okay. And then other than that, well, how about do something like da 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 da. Let's do this. Hang on a second. Just something goofy, All right, so we did this. Let's go ahead and smooth all the lines here. There we go. We just smoothed all the lines and made a somewhat, I don't know, a goofy heart-looking thing, a really bad-looking heart, but whatever. And so we'll just go ahead and take that line. First of all, we're going to take this piece. Oh, on a second. I don't want to edit the nodes. Goodness gracious. Here we go. So this, actually, let me see. How do I do? Just do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. I know you got to be ungrouped. Just do a simple remove on these things. Again, you guys can draw a much prettier heart than I can, so let's not get crazy here. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go V-carve, and I'm going to do, sorry, not V-carve. I'm going to use a V-carve bit, but I'm going to say profile on the line and a cut depth of 0.2 with a V-bit, 60-degree V-bit. Select, calculate. What did I put? Oh, I put 0.2. Silly me. All right, profile. I meant to put let's see, 125, 0.125. So I need 0.0, I don't know, 0.03, whatever. There, we'll cut it that shallow. That's fine. Now we're going to do another profile. Again, same thing, but this time it's going to be a profile outside. Outside, and we're going to do a cut depth of 125 with a end mill. And that will remove the outside. So we calculate, and then let's go ahead and reset preview all toolpaths. So here, folks, this is what we did. We created our Jesus as usual. We created a shape. Now remember, I'm just creating a random shape here that looks like a really messed up, well, it actually probably looks more like a real heart than it does a nice heart. But there's our heart. And then, and then I did forget one thing, which is in the V-carve section. Hello, there we go. In the original V-carve, we forgot to do, we just select, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to go select all and not do this. And then there it is. In the original V-carve, that's the one to, come on, folks. I don't care about open vectors. Look, I'll tell you what. Just select all, V-carve it, and who cares? It's going to be messy because it may actually do the reverse. Yep, it's going to do the reverse. Wait till you see this, folks. This is going to be goofy as heck. All right, so you're going to love this. Dun, dun, dun. See? Not too good looking, huh? It's getting there. It's finishing the rest. All right. So obviously, whenever you have an issue, whenever any of you have an issue where you have a V-carve, let me see what this thing did. Okay, I see. Okay, whenever you have an issue that this thing V-carves the inverse, then you just simply take the tool and do a little bit of a outwards, 0.01, whatever you want, offset. it created another little line there. So now when you go to do your V-carve again, make sure you choose all of them and then calculate it again, and it's going to reverse everything. I don't know if that if anybody is confused by that statement, let me know. But basically, here's what happens now. Reset preview all toolpaths. Now, as you see, it created that one little path, but it's actually putting everything inverse. I mean, I learned this long ago in my sign days when I used to do, sometimes when you're engraving with lasers, you do white on black or black on white. And what happens is, well, first of all, what happened with this one is something else altogether. Apparently, yeah, it didn't select. Okay. Let me just do this the other way. It's going to give me an error of open vectors, but I don't care. Let's see if what's missing is all the open vectors because I cut those things. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's still missing. All right, let's go ahead and close all the vectors. So we're going to take all these vectors and we're going to do a join open vectors. There's 9 open vectors. Well, by all means, join them if you can. I don't know why they can't. Okay, close this. Let's join them with straight lines. Okay, that one's closed. This one's closed. All right. Yeah, some of these vectors just can't be closed unless I close it with this line here. So select all. Again, not pretty. Let's see if I can close these. Well, that's what you get for. Remember, when you trim, and let this be a lesson to you guys. When you guys trim, make sure I'm still sharing. When you guys cut a piece off, and you want to trim all the different areas, you see this piece. This piece here ended here, but it joins with this piece, rather with this piece. But unfortunately, now it doesn't join with that piece anymore because I've cut it with this thing. So if you want the original to be cut, be careful when you cut. I would say slice them little by little. This falls right in line with when you guys create, those of you that have ever created scroll saw patterns. So if you ever run into a situation like this, well, draw yourself on a little piece of paper what was originally white, what was originally black, and then now you know exactly where to trim the stuff. And with that, I believe we're 10 minutes early. Let's see if you guys have any other questions. Yep, you're absolutely right, Bruce. It's wrecked. Well, it's sort of wrecked because what I can do is just undo until I get there. And then now everything's fixable, folks. Everything's fixable. Now what we do is we V-carve everything without that. Calculate. And then give it a second. Give it a second to calculate. Remember, everything's wrecked, but the beautiful thing about computers is everything is fixable. And this one, yep, that's going to look good. Reset preview all toolpaths, boom. Draw, 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 draw. So now it just went through the excess of painting all those things down there and then cutting it out. All right. So you'll notice this that I cut here. You see this piece that I cut here on the bottom? Well, when you cut this piece, you have to take into account, and if you use this to cut it, you have to take into account that this piece has to be joined with this piece or it's no longer going to be correct. Likewise, this piece. But the worst part is when you have two pieces like this one here, and this is the big one, this big block here, if you cut this piece, you're cutting it in 4 places. So what happens when it rejoins? It's not going to rejoin here and rejoin here. It's going to have a single line that goes all the way around and then a single line. So bottom line is always keep an eye out for what you're cutting. And so when you get rid of the excess stuff, you're left with a goofy shaped heart that Jesus loves you. I would suggest if you end up doing something this horrific on the outside, then by all means use a little blowtorch and make it look kind of, like tattered paper, kind of like it should, so, like you meant to do it on purpose, which, we meant to do this on purpose. All right, so let us go ahead and save our Jesus loves you. Because I save everything. And let's go ahead and do again with this. Okay, hang on a second. This thing's got a problem. The new I'm trying an experimental version of Parallels, folks, for those of you that and this is an hang on a second. Jesus, not Jesus loves. Oh goodness gracious. Jesus loves you. And I don't want it on the desktop. I want it on the PC, local disk. There we go. Save. Yes, there we go. Now, what happens is I'm trying a new version of Parallels. You'll notice this is my Mac. And I just swap over and there's my PC because I am trying a new experimental version of Parallels. Why is it experimental? Well, I have the regular Parallels on my regular Mac, on my other Mac. This is a new M1 Mac. It's so for those of you that are always into the latest and greatest, you know what happens when you are into the latest and greatest. Right now, the machine is so advanced and so incredibly fast. I mean, this M1 Mac is just blinding speed over all the others. The new the Mac ARM chip. The problem is that as with all new technology, there is not all the programs are written for it. Obviously, Vectric is written for PC. But the program that I'm speaking of is Parallels, which is a PC emulator. And it is not yet tweaked for this. So there's some issues. It's good. But there's, and it's brand new and I just installed it. And there's something going on with the permissions. It can load into its own local virtual drive, but it can't cross into the Mac drive for some reason. All the others could. So I'll work on that. I saved myself a year of purgatory. Yeah. Don't want to do that, right? All right. So here we go. Let's last but not least, we got 5 minutes. What kind of bathroom sign would you like, Alex? Just putting it out there for you. Yeah, if not, I'll just come up with something in my head. How about all right, let's oh yeah, I forgot I'm not sharing. So let me share with you guys here. Share. they give you a keychain that's always large. All right, let's do that. Let's do a large keychain. Not that you can see the size difference, but here it is. All right, so let's make a new one, and the new one will be, let's go ahead and make it thick. So it's 20, it's 2 foot by, let's make it 2 foot by 2 foot. No, let's make it 2 foot by 12 inches. So, you know, it's a good size. It's a good size. Okay. Now, of course, we're going to need our hole. So here's our little, the hole. It's a, I don't know, quarter inch hole is good. So let's make a diameter quarter-inch hole. We'll put it right here. Okay, there's our keychain hole. So you'll notice how big the keychain is because the hole is down here and it's pretty good size. And then we're going to make the sign. Let's see. We'll make a nice simple sign. Say men's room. Oh. Men's room. And then women's room. Whatever. Spell it correctly. All right. You know, today you got to be, you know, politically correct. So I'm including everyone in this. Everybody chooses their assigned thing in life. So here we go. We got men's room, we got women's room, and we got whatever's room. It's all going to be all one keychain serves all. Simple, yet efficient. Okay, so now one thing I do want to do, let me bring this in a little, and let me create, I like rounded corners. I don't want to kill myself when I'm in the men's room, so let's do this with radius edge corners, and the radius will be 1 inch ply. Let's see, too much. Let's try ½ inch is good. All right, close. Now, this we're going to do. Okay, let's go to our toolpaths, and we're gonna first of all let's do our little hole here. We're gonna create this. We're gonna go down 0.75. It'll go all the way through, 1/4 inch end mill, and calculate. Now, oh, wait a second. I went the wrong way. I want it on the inside. All right, calculate. Boom, done. All right, now we'll go back and we'll do these. And you know, I'm only gonna do like 1/4 inch. So and we're not gonna do a V-carve. I know you guys always like V-carve for everything, but sometimes, again, I will say this, sometimes you're better off doing a straight cut. You know, I like straight cuts. V-carve is not always, you know, V-carve is great when you have a lot of corners, but if you don't mind the curved corners, that's fine. And let's go with 0.25 of a depth. We calculate. So now we got our pockets, and hopefully this thing, yeah, it's calculating. Folks, tonight with Al and myself. Oh, by the way, next week I probably will not be on. We'll be skipping both shows. But tonight with Al and myself, we're going to be talking about the Cola Wars. So it'll be interesting tonight on the 10 o'clock show. All right, so here we go. Last but not least, we take our pocket toolpath. Crazy. Here we go. And on the outside, 0.75, and here we go, calculate. All right, so we're done with all of this. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like. Voila. We got the men's room sign, we got the women's room sign, and we got the whatever sign. And where are my cut corners? There they are. They're coming up. They're taking a while. There it is. All right. So we got our, the sign should be about this big. So, it's pretty large. Men's room, women's room, whatever's room. Sorry, I couldn't think up anything on the fly, but let's see. Save as. That's going to be bathroom sign. Bathroom keychain sign. I'll remember what they are little by little. There we go. Save. Okay. Folks, that is pretty much our show for the evening. Thank you all for dropping by, as always. And I'm going to, I'm looking forward to tonight's show. Well, I'm looking forward to all the shows, but looking forward to talking about the old Cola Wars, Pepsi, Classic Coke. Remember Classic Coke? Remember New Coke? Oh, God. Boy, was that a mistake. And, I'll start reminiscing about all the different colas we had. So I'll see you guys at 10. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And good night, guys. Thanks for dropping by. See you in a couple weeks. Bye-bye.